First reading, a bill for an Act to amend the Australian Citizenship Act 2007 and for related purposes.
Give the call to the member for New England.
I move that this bill be now read a second time. Mr Speaker, I was booted out of this place under a Section 44 case because apparently I had dual citizenship for a country that I'd visited for approximately 5 days. My father, who was not a citizen of that country, my mother was not a citizen of that country. It just so happened that for a period of time I was entitled to citizenship, and therefore I was no longer able to be a member of this parliament. I want to thank people because it allowed me to have a world record 3 times as Deputy Prime Minister of Australia. However, if I'm not allowed to sit in this parliament because of dual citizenship, why should I be allowed to stay in Australia if I committed a terrorist offence? If your affection for another country is so much that you want to keep the citizenship of that country, and you, whilst here in Australia, decide that what you will do as a terrorist offence is murder people, kill people, as we have seen, unfortunately, then you should live your virtue and go back to the other country, wherever that may be. What is the reason that you should be staying in Australia? Why should you stay here? You obviously don't like the place. In fact, you hate Australia. So if you hate Australia, leave Australia. It's really quite simple. You can't have a potpourri of allegiances that on a time of testing shows that they are weighted towards another nation away from the nation that we all live in. It has got to be seen that having Australian citizenship comes with rights, comes with obligations. And those obligations are negated if you act in such a way as to the complete detriment and harm of the Australian people and also of the culture, the egalitarian nature of Australia. What this says, I thought, is the bleeding obvious, that if you are come from a part of the world which has sowed a seed that says there is not to be, that you find the culture of Australia anathema, and you hold that so strongly that you pursue a terrorist act, then surely that strength of affinity, of love of that alternate nation, that alternate culture, should see you deported to it. Then you should be living with your heart's content in another part of the world, becoming their problem, not ours. I mean, why, when you think about it, if you keep Australian citizenship and ultimately we become responsible, because we don't have the death penalty in Australia, we become responsible for jailing you, the cost of that is more than if you stayed in a first-class hotel in Sydney. It is a massive cost to the Australian taxpayer. So this bill is about stating the bleeding obvious. It's about saying that if you held dual citizenship, and you obviously be aware of that dual citizenship, and that dual citizenship is a reflection of an affection for another nation, and your affection for Australia is in such a form as that you have gone out to commit a terrorist act, quite obviously with the intention of killing Australians, of killing the people who are of the culture, who are of the ethos of the people who have given you comfort, given you succour, given you security, giving you the opportunities of free health, free education, giving you the egalitarian nature, giving you freedom before the law, giving you equality before the law, giving you opportunity, giving you basically a classless society. If that is so at odds with where you are, if that offends you so much that you wish to go and commit a terrorist attack to kill your fellow Australians, then why on earth aren't we kicking you out of this country? If you have that alternate nation where your love resides, then that is where you should be booted out to. That is where you go. So I can't quite understand why I mean, look, I accept that other people might say, well, yeah, that's fair enough, and we might get something of a similar form that's supported by other parties. I want to acknowledge, obviously, member for Flynn from the National Party for his support on this. So it is something that's seen as a bipartisan on a bipartisan basis because of logic. It's not something that I sort of parochially want to hold to as my own, and the only party I've mentioned here right now is the National Party. So if this is something that can be supported in such a form as to bring logic back into this, I think you will be overwhelmingly supported by the Australian people.
I thank the honourable member.